Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Omega Metroid podcast from OmegaMetroid.com. My name is Andy Spiteri, joined by Dakota Lasky, Doom Crossing. Dak, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good. It is another beautiful Monday. I gotta look up my calendar because I feel like I've been forgetting the days lately. Pretty good. I went to the Jets game last week, which was why I wasn't here last week.
What
and
a
they
game.
won. Great game. And then they lost this past weekend, which I don't want to talk about. But the great first game, except Aaron Rodgers getting hurt. Hate to see it. Been playing some more Armored Core. Starfield's working a little better for me, which has been great. So I've been enjoying that. Yeah, it's been pretty good, pretty chill. Just, summer's kind of wrapping up and don't have too much plans. So kind of just hanging around and, whatnot, gaming and all that. But yeah, doing good, man.
Doom, are you a football guy? Really?
Not really. Like I'll occasionally watch it if it's on, if I'm in the break room and I see it. I think it's entertaining, but I don't really follow it super closely until maybe playoffs or the Super Bowl. But yeah, I saw a lot of people on Twitter talking about the game that Dak went to, and I was like, oh man, Dak's probably having the time of his life right now.
Well, I mean,
it seemed like an unreal game.
It was pretty down in the dumps until the fourth quarter. I'm not gonna lie, but
but the comebacks are the best ones, though, right?
Yeah, but are you gonna be able to do that weekly?
No. Well, that's the thing is that whenever the Jets win, it's like a Super Bowl. That game I think was one of the most. It was more packed than when they hosted the Super Bowl recently. So
wow.
It was a big deal, and then Aaron Rodgers got hurt on the fourth possession, but. That's classic Jets, exactly what I expected, a lot of expectations and then fumbling almost immediately. And yeah, so they got destroyed this past week. I grew up a Giants fan, just not to aside too much, but I grew up a Giants fan. Good friend of mine that when I moved to Jersey, he's like, I have season tickets. My dad doesn't go anymore. So now I'm a Jets fan. Now I go to all the home games, not all of them, but a good amount of them because he has another ticket. And I gotta say, it is painful half the time, but sometimes we get a win.
That's good.
Hey, you know what? As long as you're not a Cowboys fan, all the respect in the world. Am I right?
No, I definitely could not be a Cowboys fan from being from New York. No.
So I'm not really a big football person. I'm your stereotypical Canadian. I love hockey, and I follow just very briefly. And I have to say, I was kind of listen. Not that I would wish ill on anybody and not to stray into any areas that this podcast shouldn't go into, but I was just Aaron Rodgers, that kind of serves you right after spending the last couple years undermining our medical community.
That's fair. I was separating the person from the player.
The player's great.
As a desperate Jets fan.
Yeah. The only team I ever kind of rooted for is and they were the biggest heel NFL team was the Patriots, which
oh my god.
And I can't say I even like them. I just like that everyone else
you'd
hated
admit
them.
On air, man.
Hey, but
you couldn't waterboard that info out of me.
I mean, I don't care. It was so funny because I have a bunch of friends that are football fans and they'll hate the Patriots. So I was just kind of go Tom or whatever, right? Knowing nothing about football.
Go Tom. Go Tom. Oh my god, that's a shirt right there.
They might bring that guy out of retirement for New York Jets. I don't know.
Well, that was funny that we were talking about that earlier. We got to bring someone back out of retirement. Brady or the Mannings. I mean, didn't Brady come back out of? I don't even know anymore, but.
I don't know.
I think he went back in, but yeah.
He was pretty sick last season, right?
You know how the WWE matches, people will be holding people irrelevant, out of context signs. I could totally see Andy showing up and it just says "Go Tom" at one of those events. I need Andy to make this happen right now.
If AEW comes to Calgary, I will hold up a "Go Tom Brady" sign and I will tell you guys where I'm sitting.
No, it can't say Tom Brady. It's got to say "Go Tom." Okay. It has to lack context.
Well, there's a lot of Toms out there, but
exactly, it's got to be ambiguous.
Okay, well, we have some stuff to dive into here today. Of course, as everybody probably knows, unless they were living under a rock, we did indeed have that Nintendo Direct last week. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Doom, you and I kind of summoned it into existence. Not that it was a hard guess or by any means, but we were talking and saying hopefully next week we can react to this Nintendo Direct, and I want to talk about a few things before we actually get into the Direct, but I have to say that this direct was exactly what I thought it was going to be, and I feel more confident in ever than what I said last week about the Switch 2. Your response to that?
Um, I still don't agree with you, but at the same time, it was exactly what I expected. I don't really have. I think we both just have very different scenarios in our head, but I don't think the direct either supports or goes against either of our scenarios, really.
Okay, so Dak, I wanna get your opinion, but I want to give you some context to what we were talking about, and you
Yeah.
you may have already pieced this together in the Discord over the last couple of weeks, but so Doom and I were talking about the rumored Switch 2 specs last week, and then we were saying, when is this going to be officially revealed to the world? And
The
I
Switch
said
2.
the Switch 2, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I said this is what I think is going to happen. I think that sometime before the end of this year, the end of 2023, Nintendo is going to have, let's call it like, I don't know, maybe a 10-minute video where they are just like, this is the Switch 2, this is its name, this is its gimmick, this is what it is. I don't necessarily think that they have to say when it's coming out. I don't necessarily think they even need to say how much it's going to cost, but I think that they're going to unveil it and then say like, look forward to more information in 2024. And I think that that's coming. And my reason for this is like, look at the games that we got for the Switch. Like we're on life support right now. And I was like, if we get a direct and we get a bunch of really cool first party games, like new games, and it's not a bunch of ports, it's not a bunch of DLC, maybe I'm wrong. But man, I feel good about this. I feel really good about this. What do you think about that?
I mean, look, man, you've been dragging me kicking and screaming into this conversation. I almost feel as like a tiebreaker here. Yeah, to take a stance on whose team I'm on. I think okay. And what? Doom, you think that we're not gonna hear about it till next year? Is that
I'm thinking like March is a good time to hear about the Switch too.
So here's my thing. I think you're both right. I think everyone can agree that the Switch is on its last legs. I also agree with Doom that we're not seeing it till next year. I don't think they're connected. Like the Switch is on its last legs, and Nintendo is also going to reveal it when they're ready. Realistically, we're not seeing this console available to the public until next holiday. So realistically, why do they need to reveal it a year ahead? Like really, like why do they need to reveal it a year ahead of the earliest it would be on? I'm gonna switch it back to you, Andy. Why would they need to reveal it a year ahead of when it would most likely the earliest it would be released?
I'm glad that you asked that because I think it's coming out before holiday. I do. I think that now if they don't reveal it this year, clearly this isn't going to happen. But
as of right now, you think it's going to be revealed before holiday of 2024? Or I'm sorry,
I think it's going to be available to
on
buy.
On sale.
Yes.
Yes.
I could see this Switch 2, whatever it is, being available in May. I really could. In May. I could really see that. But I mean, like you watch this direct and it's like, what's coming after May? Like I don't think so. And by the way, it's not like I'm sure that they're going to keep on releasing Switch games for the Switch after the Switch 2 comes out. But like, I think that's like, I don't think that's as impossible as everyone is saying to me. And maybe that's wide-eyed optimism. But man, I'm telling you, I think that like there is a chance, and maybe not a bad chance that like this is going to be available sooner than people think. I really think that.
I mean, on one hand, I have thought after watching this direct and they're like, yeah, Luigi's Mansion 2 is coming out next summer. I was like, there's no way the Switch 2 comes out before that. But on the other hand, I don't necessarily disagree that, yeah, they'll keep making Switch games after the Switch 2 is out. So it's not unreasonable to think that the Switch 2 would release and then Luigi's Mansion 2, whatever comes out on the Switch, and then most likely is available for the Switch 2, by backwards compatibility. So again, I don't necessarily think either one is necessarily indicative of the other. I think they're kind of unrelated. But after watching that direct, at least the vibes I was getting from Nintendo is they're ignoring the fact that the Switch is on life support. They're still putting out games as far as they're concerned. I mean, there's still a good amount of. They might not be like killer apps, depending on who you talk to. But there's still a good amount of games, still a good amount of Mario games, at the very minimum, coming out until next summer.
I definitely agree the Switch is on its last legs. I think the term life support might be a tad hyperbolic, I think. Like, when I think of life support, I think of, like, barren wasteland. There's, like, nothing coming out except for, like...
Switch.
Yeah, but, like, there's, you know, like, obviously, yeah, it's, like, ports, remakes, and, like, spin-offs for the most part that's occupying the Switch.
It's at the tail end of its lifespan, which I think
But these ports and remakes are of, you know, quality games that generally people hold in high regard, so...
They're still going to sell.
And I'm not saying they're not. Yeah, I'm not saying they're not, and I'm not saying they're not going to sell either. But I'm saying, like clearly, the big guns are being held back.
Yeah, but like, I feel like at this point we're talking in circles. Like, the end of the life cycle, like the Switch 2 could come out this time or at this, because like there's nothing in the news cycle right now that's telling me, like, that's indicating anything to me. Like, Switch games could, like you said, Andy, could keep coming out after the Switch 2 releases. The Switch 2 could get announced 6 months before it's, you know, put out in 2024 holiday, or it's revealed this time of year in a month or two and it comes out in the summer. Like, there's so little information, which is why I've been trying to, like, I'm so done with this conversation, because it's like, I don't know. I think you both have good points. Personally, just based on, like, the timetable, I don't see why they wouldn't release. I mean, when did the Switch come out? In, like, April or something of that year?
Switch came out March the 3rd.
Yeah,
2017.
So, like, I don't see them releasing a console in the summer. Like, holiday makes sense. Spring is holiday-ish, but, like, there's no real big holiday that, like, you get, like, buying electronics around in the summer that they would kind of tentpole, like, hitch that to, you know? So, like, I don't see what the benefit of doing that would be. Then again, I don't know, everyone schools out, works out, like, everyone will be playing it. Like, it could happen at any time,
man. This is my crackpot theory.
This Direct did not give me any additional, like, oh, this is going to happen. Like, this Direct answered no questions for me.
I really think that this Direct did say to everybody, like, you know, this is the last thing, this is the last that we could squeeze out of the Switch, and then, like, we got to roll out our big guns. And I think maybe this, who knows, I'm just making this up off the top of my head, maybe it comes out in the summer or late spring, just so that, you know, there's a chance for inventory to catch up to the demand by holiday rather. So I have no idea, but I feel good about that. We're going to see this, I think, sooner than a lot of people think, which probably means that we're going to be playing Metroid Prime 4 sooner than maybe a lot of people think.
That's why you think it's coming out earlier, so you want to play Prime 4 earlier, when I do
not necessarily, and I don't necessarily think it's going to launch.
I see it on your
Switch
face
2 either, and we're going to talk about this actually in a couple of weeks. But I do think, like, I think it maybe isn't, like, as far away as some people are hypothesizing.
I wouldn't even necessarily call it far away, because if you think about it, like, in terms of, like, reveal and release timing, we're talking about, like, a few months difference, like maybe 6-7 months at most, which, at least to me, that's not very far away. But I don't know, that's just
I agree. Also, as a now 30-year-old man, a year is not a lot of time.
Yep.
That's that, man. That's nothing. I can a year back in the day was agonizing. You know,
you should know better than anyone now that you're 30. Like, every year could be your last. Your back starts to hurt. Your ankles give out.
No. That I don't agree with.
We're not doing existentialism today.
I feel fine, but I just, like, the time in that, it's like, okay, it's whatever. It's
I just turned 30 a couple weeks ago. We're not doing this.
56 weeks, no big deal. But, like, or 52, whatever it is. But yeah, I think it's like, on one hand, I definitely see what you're saying, Andy. On the other hand, it's like, knowing Nintendo, they could have another Direct in February that announces a bunch of new games we've never heard of for the Switch for the rest of the year. Like, I take back what I just said. There is one answer to me one question to me that was maybe answered by this Direct, which has to do with Metroid, which is, I now feel like if we're going to see a Prime 2 or Prime 3, it's going to happen around the same time Metroid Prime Remastered came out last year, this coming year. So, like, if we're going to see them, I wouldn't be surprised if we see another Shadow drop this February, and they drop Metroid Prime 2 Remaster, they drop Metroid Prime 2 and 3 HD or whatever it is. Like, now that, to me, now sounds like a pretty likely thing, and I could definitely see them this February dropping Metroid Prime 2, or Metroid Prime 2 and 3, or Metroid Prime 2, whatever it is, and announcing a couple new games that come out in May or June or July, whatever, and that carries us until this time of year next year. Like, that's kind of Nintendo's thing, is they're especially lately, like they're not going to talk about something until it's only it's like just over the horizon. So unless the console really is coming out this summer, but I just still seems very soon to me.
You're not wrong, and my theory could be completely wrong. I get the vibe that like there's not much left in the tank, and clearly there isn't. But maybe they are holding some other stuff close to the chest. But yeah, I do.
Who knows, man? F-Zero 99, like they could pump out a new F-Zero game in 6 months. Who knows?
I want to talk about that.
Which is real. Oh, we're absolutely talking about that.
Oh man, I did not realize what I just started. But go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, like I think that going back to this direct, and let's talk about Metroid Prime 2 and 3, because I think a lot of people, I think people had reason to be, what's a level below optimistic? Like, I don't think optimistic that they would be announced, but I think like it wasn't impossible that these games could have shown up at this direct, and I don't think it's not impossible.
Yeah, like a coin flip. That's the term I used during the predictions episode.
I don't know if I'd even say a coin, but like not improbable, right? Like not like it wouldn't have been. It would have been a complete shock if they showed up. And we didn't get them, obviously, and that is, yeah, I mean, I wasn't like necessarily like really expecting them, but I think that there was enough of a chance where I was still a little bit let down, because I was like, bummer, like, I do wish that these games were coming out. I think it's clear at this point that if they come out, they're probably not getting the same level of remaster that Metroid Prime got, which is probably fine. Which is probably fine.
I'm not entirely convinced by that, actually, just yet, but
okay,
that's all I have to say. I just like, hey, we don't really know. I mean, I feel like Metroid Prime Remastered, like, how much more work would it have been to do the same thing for 2 and 3? I don't really know. I'm not a game developer, but like, I don't know.
With Prime Remastered, they completely remodeled every aspect of that game. That took a lot of work to get that game in the state it is.
I'm not saying it's not a hard or a lot of amount of work. I'm saying like it's not like they're building a whole game from the ground up, like pre-production wise. Like, I don't know how long it took them to like start to finish on Metroid Prime Remastered, but I'm figuring, I mean, I'm not anticipating they started in 2017, 2018. Like maybe they did at some point halfway through Metroid Prime Remastered be like, hey, maybe it's a good idea to do this for 2 and 3. I'm not entirely convinced though. I mean, I feel like Metroid Prime Remastered was received pretty well. Maybe that could have changed things. I for what it was, it sold pretty well. It was received very well. It was one of Nintendo's highest scoring games of the year, which isn't saying too much, but it was also one of the highest scoring games of the year for a while period. I feel like that could have changed things.
I think, well, here's the thing. I think if Prime 2 and 3 does come out relatively soon, like we're expecting to kind of pave the runway for Prime 4, I don't think like, the critical or the sales reception of Prime 1 would really make that much of a difference. Because at that point, you're basically like, okay, we got a year time to do all of these updates. And like, you're just not going to be able to do that in a year's time. That's just not realistic at all.
Yeah. Unless Metroid Prime 4 is farther away than we anticipate.
True. But so I was kind of saying, like, if I'm going by my theory that I'm going to stick to my guns and think that the Switch 2 might be coming out earlier than a lot of us think. And I think it's appropriate to assume that Metroid Prime 4 launches within the first 6 months of that console's lifespan. You've really only got like a year to get 2 and 3 out, and I think it's less likely that there's 2 and then 3 rather than just like both of them are like, boom, here you go. You can play them and get ready for,
if they even exist at all.
If they even exist at all. Yeah.
Even if they even exist at all, I think Metroid Prime Remaster is almost like giving us this like, oh well, they did this. Obviously, they're bringing Prime 2, and they're not nothing is obvious about it, to be honest.
I hope they exist, because I'm playing Metroid Prime 3 Corruption right now, which, by the way, this has got to be like one of the most slept on Metroid games. This game is awesome. God, it's awesome.
How many times? I feel like I say this all the time on the show.
You do.
But like, this game is great. It's such a good game. Like,
it is. But like, you talk to Metroid fans, and a lot of them will be like, yeah, the first 2 Prime games are so good. Corruption's pretty good, but it's like, man, I think that this is like one of the best Metroid games. Like, it's a top 5 Metroid game to me. It's so good. It's awesome. It's good.
A great game. It's always been in my top 5. Here's the thing about Metroid Prime 3. It's one of those games where I feel like maybe this might be casting an unfair judgment across many Metroid fans, but it's one of those things where I feel like some Metroid fans have opinions about it, but haven't actually played the game or played it a lot. It's one of those games where I feel like some Metroid fans is like, oh, they've only played it once. So they don't really like really get to indulge in what's really great about it. And that might be a completely unfair, and probably is completely unfair, judgment. But I would assume most people play like Metroid Prime 1 over Metroid Prime 3 way more, which makes a lot of sense.
I mean,
but
myself included.
Yeah, so it always feels like to me one of those games. I'm like, I wish if people just like maybe played it more than once or twice, and they would have a different opinion of it. But yeah, I always thought this game is such an underrated game. I love
the music is sweet too. I'm just gonna throw that out there because a lot of people dump on that soundtrack. But man, I'm playing this game. I'm like, there's some killer tracks in there. Killer tracks.
So my thing on Prime 3 is that when I say that it's my least favorite of the trilogy, that's not like a statement on the game's quality itself. That's a testament to how high the bar is for Metroid. Like Metroid Prime 3 is like a B+ or an A- for me. Like it's a killer game. It's one of the best games you can get on the Wii right now. But then for me, Prime and Echoes are like some of the best games I've ever played in my life, if that makes sense. That being said, though, it's been as much as I played Prime 3 quite a bit of times. It's been a while since I played that game, and I definitely want to replay that before I do like an in-depth critique of that game again.
Yeah, I would love to like do a deep dive on Corruption for sure, because it is 100% underrated game. I think it does so many things right, and it's such a I love to look at the Metroid Prime trilogy as one big experience, and it's like it works so well as like an Act 3. It's very pure in an Act 3, as in like you kind of do have you don't have to play the first two games, but like it's kind of made where like you should, and it built so much on that, and it like the intro of the game is very clearly the middle part, or the start of the last third of a larger story, obviously because of a trilogy, but they just do that so well. It doesn't feel like it's starting from zero again. It kind of brings you right in at 100 from the beginning, which I always loved about it.
I think that we might have to bring definitive ranking back and talk about Corruption soon, because this game it's awesome. The point of my story was I'm playing it right now, and I've got my my literal Wiimote, my Skyward Sword Wiimote hooked up to my computer via Bluetooth, because I don't want to do mouse and keyboard. It's impossible to get all the motion controls synced to like a regular controller. So this is what I got, and man, I'm just dying to play this game in like any other way, doesn't involve me. So this is what I had to do in order to play this. So I have the Wiimote hooked up to my computer. I have an actual Wii beside my desk turned on, and my soundbar, the Wiimote sensor bar is on top of my monitor right now, and that's how I'm playing it. And so like, golly, man, that this game, if it came out and was more accessible and people could play it more, that would be such a beautiful thing. It'd be such a wonderful thing for that game.
I agree. That's why like when I saw like the Thousand Year Door remaster during the Direct, I was like, finally. Yep. People who have not played this game can enjoy it for what it is, the best Mario RPG and one of the best games of all time. And I'm so happy that is getting the remaster treatment for that reason, because it's not an accessible game. And yeah, like we can say, okay, you can play Trilogy on emulator or the Trilogy release on the Wii, but like even that is so far removed. Like there's really no like clean, accessible way for like a casual player to like easily jump in and try out these games, which is like, it's such a shame. Mm-hmm. And so I'm glad that it's unfortunate that like in some cases you're paying full price or almost full price to play this game again. But like at the end of the day, it is nice to see those games kind of getting, new life and people jumping into them for the first time. So yeah, I wish we could do that with Metroid Prime 3, because if that kind of hindrance of like having to set it up to play it the right way is even a further layer of making an issue. That said, just please play it on mouse and keyboard. It is so much better and so much easier than the leaps and bounds that you have made physically to play the game. You can just easily play on mouse and keyboard.
Can't do it, won't do it. No.
It's so much better.
Something else I'll add as well is that, unlike, say, Skyward Sword, I do think that adapting the motion controls to a standard controller is significantly easier, as we discussed in my debut episode of the Omega Metroid podcast, which you should absolutely check out if you haven't already.
Yes,
that's
100%.
A deep cut, which was like 100 episodes ago.
I think more, actually. It was a long.
That was a couple of years ago now,
if not more. Yeah. I don't know if we had anything more to say about Prime 2 and Prime 3, but I had a thought on the tip of my tongue, and then I forgot what it was. So,
I'll say this: I hope I don't think that the chances of them coming to Switch are zero. I do think they might have taken a little bit of a hit, but that being said, if we do get the Switch, I mean, listen, if we get the Switch 2 in holiday or summer, whatever, I think that's very valid. there's still time where they could be shadow dropped in February. Say I kind of think they're gonna follow the Pikmin model. Like, here, these games are $30 each on the eShop. Go buy them, or you can maybe wait a couple months for a physical release of both of them. Whatever. I could still see that happening. And maybe, I could even see it. I could even see it where in my scenario here, where like Nintendo has like the little sneak reveal of the Switch 2 in 2023. They probably do like a big wham bam presentation like they did for the Switch, and they probably show a bunch of games. Maybe they show Metroid Prime 4, and maybe there's a chance that like these games come to Switch 2 instead of Switch. I'm not sure, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I think we're you go, Dak.
No, I thought about what I wanted to say, but it's not related to what Andy just said, so go ahead.
Okay, well, hold on to that thought so you don't forget it again.
I'm holding it.
All right. I think we're getting him just because where there's smoke,
sense.
there's fire.
Yeah.
Granted, though, I am in California, so it could just be another forest fire about to occur. But I do think we're getting him.
Oh, dude, you guys, those are rookie numbers. We have smoke here all August. Come
when
on,
you're
man.
in a whose forest fire is bigger competition, and your competition is Canada. The only thing I wanted to add here is I will say, Andy, you mentioned how you were disappointed that you didn't say Prime 2 and Prime 3 in the Direct. I thought it was funny that people were disappointed they didn't see Prime 4, because I saw people tweeting about that. I was like, that's crazy.
That is
Prime
crazy.
2 and Prime 3 was definitely like we could see it. If we don't, no big deal.
Within the
If
realm of
not,
possibility.
Yeah. But I want to say, though... No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I knew we weren't going to see Prime 4 just because of Tokyo Game Show, and I knew that the Direct was mostly going to be focusing on, more Japanese-oriented titles. That's typically what Nintendo's MO is, so there's just absolutely no way Prime 4 shows up. Anyways, back to you, Dak.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was I don't think anyone was realistically thinking Prime 4 was going to come out, but I will say that, like, while we've been in maybe a Metroid drought isn't fair, because compared to what it used to be, like we've just had 2 Metroid games come out in the past few years. Like that's awesome. In the past 2-3 years, that's pretty awesome. But I would say gaming in general has had a lot of big awesome releases recently where I didn't feel that like I wish Prime 2 and Prime 3 came out. I mean, just literally in the past few weeks, like Baldur's Gate 3, Sea of Stars, Starfield, Armored Core, like so many big games that like have taken up my attention personally, that like I didn't even kind of, not like maybe it's like blasphemous for a Metroid fan to say, but I was like, I didn't feel like I wish we got Metroid Prime 2 and 3, because like I'm up to my gills in new games to play and games to enjoy, so it's kind of nice, not nice, but I was like I didn't have that same feeling, and it's kind of like now I'm like, when it's ready, like I feel like we've gone past that point where, damn, I'm desperate for a Metroid game. Like when we started the show, desperate, needed something. Now I'm like, we've had Metroid Prime Remastered, we've had Metroid Dread. Like that's pretty good. Like it's not bad. Like I got 2 good recent games to go back to at any time. Like I'm not dying for Metroid anymore, which is like, I feel like that's not like something I could say in the longest of times, and it's kind of nice because it's like, okay, I'll play Metroid when it's ready, and I've got these other great games to enjoy, and I have these other great Metroid games that just came out. Like it's not a bad feeling. So it wasn't disappointing to me. It was like, okay, when it's ready, and I want to play when it's ready. So that's what I took away from it.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I think like certainly we're not in like the same level of lack of Metroid title like we were, when we started the show.
We're not in a Metroid desert right now. We're in a Metroid plain.
I do, like, I mean, I always want, I feel like it's my mission to, like, get people to play Metroid, so if it's easier to play Prime 2 and 3, then great. Then I can be like, hey, everyone check this out. But at the same time, it's certainly, like, I didn't come away just being like, oh, I got this Direct sucks because there's no Metroid.
Well, did you think the Direct was good? I mean, just to cut this chase here, I feel like just to sum up our thoughts here on the Direct, like, personally, it really wasn't I thought it was kind of like a meh Direct, because it was kind of games we knew about, the new games, whatever, but Thousand Year Door Remaster, very cool. I loved that. So that made it a memorable Direct for me. It's one of my favorite games. So that's it. That's all I had to say about it.
I will say, how do I put this? I thought this Direct stunk. Like, just, it is what it is. There was some fun stuff shown for sure, but like mid card, like C level, like B level B levels being generous at best kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is, not every direct needs to be, A plus after A plus after A plus kind of quality of game, but yeah, like I thought that this direct stunk, and it was 90% ports and DLC, which I kind of thought it would be. And but like it's also understandable why it stunk. So I think that makes the sting a little bit less like potent. You know what I mean? Like if this direct happened 2 years ago, I'd be like, Jesus, that was one of the worst directs I've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're dying for something, but now we're like, hey, we got something to fall back on. Like, it's not a big deal. It's just kind of mid, like whatever.
Yeah, and we know that like something is on the horizon, whether it's coming this year, early next year, whatever. Like why the direct was the way that it was. But I mean, like in terms of an actual direct, yeah, this was not great. And even we'll talk about Thousand Year Door, but like even that, I was just kind of like
beautiful
okay.
though, beautiful. No,
I'm really happy that like I'll save it till we get there
Love
actually,
that.
but yeah, Doom, what do
you
think?
I don't. Yeah, I feel like I'd give it the same ranking as you, but I also wasn't as harsh on it maybe as you were. I don't know. Maybe we're just using different words to describe the exact same phenomenon. But basically, I went in like this is probably going to be
first time.
Yeah. yeah. It's going to be. This is going to be the transition direct where where we start to see things really wind down, and that's exactly what we got. But then amongst that winding down, I thought there were some neat little tidbits and goodies, and actually. One really hype announcement where I popped off for one of the third parties, but we'll get there when we get there.
I bet you I know what it is, and I'm gonna.
Oh, you definitely know what it is.
Tell me if I get it.
I don't remember what it was.
Oh, no, I do know what it is actually now, but
I don't remember what it was.
All right, let's get there. Let's go through this director.
Okay.
And we can spend as much or as little time on some of these as we want. So starts off with some DLC, and it starts off with a pretty cool looking batch of DLC for Splatoon 3. This looked fine. It didn't quite give me like when I saw the trailer for the Octo expansion with the cool music, I was like, damn, this looks so like slick and cool. And I don't know that this necessarily left me feeling the same way, but it looks solid. I hope that it's free on NSO one day, and maybe if it is, I'll pick up Splatoon 3 and give it a show, because I've really liked, I like Splatoon 1, Splatoon 2. I just haven't got around to 3 yet. So yeah.
Yep, I'm in the same boat too. I loved 1, 2 not as much until the Octo expansion, which just absolutely blew me away. And then Splatoon 3 just never quite grabbed me. It looks fun, but I don't see like what's the big hook that makes this so different from 2. And the DLC hasn't really added that, so I'm definitely going to play it eventually, but as of right now, I'm fine with skipping it.
Yeah. Okay, so we got 1 DLC. Mario vs. Donkey Kong, a remake of a Game Boy Advance game. And I shouldn't disparage this because I've never played this. I'm sure they're probably fun. But, I don't know. This one, I was just kind of like, yeah, okay.
This feels like a game where like they're gonna sell it for full price, just being like people are gonna buy it because it's Mario. Like they don't even know what this is. Like whatever. And like they don't.
Know what?
Just unsuspecting people are gonna buy it, thinking it's like something crazy, and it's essentially like a mobile game.
I saw that they're not selling it for full price actually.
Okay, all right.
But
okay,
I think it's more expensive than Metroid Prime Remastered.
Yeah, it's $50.
So might as well be full price. They're splitting hairs at that point.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I was actually really hyped during this announcement because like the modern Mario vs. Donkey Kong games are like these mobile puzzle these like kind of mobile puzzle games and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But the original Mario vs. Donkey Kong for the GBA is actually awesome. It's kind of it's a spiritual successor to a Game Boy game called Donkey Kong, but most people colloquially refer to it as Donkey Kong 94. And it starts off it plays like how the original arcade Donkey Kong would play, but then after that there's like tons of bonus levels that happen where it like uses the mechanics to like do all of these cool puzzles and stuff. And it's a really different take on Mario, but it still has those platforming elements. And the GBA version is basically like a spiritual successor to that. It's so much fun. And so I was really excited that they were finally going back to that formula with a remake. Developed by NST, too, who hasn't done anything in like almost a decade now. So I'm happy to see that they're putting out content again. And then they announced that price point at $50. And it was like, man, I was I'm still gonna buy this, but I'm waiting for a sale. I can't do day one
Yeah,
for
no,
this.
I mean, look, my first Mario versus DK game, and really the only one I really ever played was March of the Minis, which was on the DS. And I thought that game was really cool. It really made good use of like the dual screens to like, you do a puzzle down here, it affects something up here, you go up here, it affects a puzzle down here, blah, blah, blah. Really cool game when I was 13 years old playing it on the DS. And my parents bought it for what I remember, I'm pretty sure was either $30 or $35. I just can't like bring myself to be like, I'm gonna pick up this
I
game,
agree.
which is not even a remake of the one that I really grew up on and is better in my opinion. But I've never played the first one, so I can't say that. So I just a completely baseless opinion and pay more money for it. So like, it looks cool, looks funny, like haha, I love it. But and I like Mario vs. DK, but did not. I wasn't like, oh,
This would have hit
need
way
that.
more for me if they were like, hey, Mario vs. DK is coming to NSO. I'd have been like, sweet, I've never played this game. I want to try it out because it looks interesting to me. And I've never played a Mario vs. Donkey Kong, but yeah, like it doesn't.
March
it
of the
doesn't,
Minis is a dope game.
Yeah, like they look
It's
fun.
cool.
This doesn't look so great though that I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna pay full price for this. Like, no way. But for those that are into it, cool. I think this might have been the coolest game of the Direct, actually, the one that came next. And it was already announced, but it's the Metroidvania Prince of Persia game. This looks sick. This looks awesome. And it's coming out in January, and I definitely want to do an Inspired by Metroid on it. This game looks wicked. This looks so cool.
This game looks absolutely sick, and it's really cool because it's multi-platform, but it was primarily designed for the Switch. Like that was the primary platform, so it still looks really good here. You're getting a nice 60 FPS, so it looks buttery smooth running in action. The combat, the exploration looks like so much fun. I want to wait for reviews first, but like, man, I'm actually really excited for this one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool. It looks really great. It would have to like bomb hard, I think, for reviews to turn me away from this game. So yeah, that looks great. Let's keep on going.
I want to add it's from the same team that does the Rayman games at Ubisoft, so I'm pretty optimistic that it's going to be quality.
That I did not know, because I am a big fan of Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends, two very good games. So this was like, look, I mean, it looks great, but it wasn't something I'm like, again, gotta play this. I'm like, oh, looks like a really cool 2D action platformer. I'm sure it'll play like a lot of fun. I didn't really see anything where I was like, it was like breaking any molds, but not every game has to do that. I think it looks like fun.
I just think Prince of Persia needs like a good, solid game. Like something that doesn't
3D
need to...
Prince of Persia.
Yeah, like I think that those
You know?
games were fine, but like I feel like they kind of lost their way very quickly. I think Prince of Persia just needs like a good game, and it doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. It just has to be good, and then they can make a sequel, and then maybe that one does a little bit more experimental stuff, and that kind of go from there. So yeah, that's gonna be cool. Okay, Mario RPG was shown. You got a couple new finishing moves for.
Looks cool.
Yeah, looks cool. I don't know if I'm
Looks
still
dope.
sold on this game, to be honest. Again, because it's a remake and I don't want to pay full price.
Well, it's not. I don't think it's gonna be. Did they say it was gonna be full price, or was that?
I think so. Maybe they
I
did.
would-
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's full price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? That's a shame.
After Metroid Prime Remaster came out, that just changed
I'm
things. for me,
saying
'cause
if
I'm
you
like,
do a remaster or a remake, I mean, I guess, I mean, because it is. I mean, it's they're not calling it Super Mario RPG remake. It is a remaster. It's not a remake. So like, I am kind of surprised that it isn't just $40. So I don't know, but
it's because it's Mario, and Mario's
yes,
the
that's
big
that's
cheese
the,
right
that-
now after
that's
that movie.
the answer. You're right.
Yeah.
That's the answer. I think for me, it was more like retroactive. When I saw Thousand Year Door, I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that. Though I'll probably end up getting both. Super Mario RPG is not a game that I've played even nearly as much as the Thousand Year Door. It just feels like it's gonna be one of those games where like I play it and I'm like, it still feels kind of dated. No disrespect to the game, but it is an early Super Mario RPG. It is a 90s JRPG. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles of the later Paper Mario games. So I haven't played it in a long time. I have played it, but I probably will still dive in because it looks like a nice, fun RPG experience on the go, and it's a great game.
Yeah.
But once I saw Thousand Year Door, I was like, well, I mean, if I had to pick one or the other, thankfully I don't. But if I did, it would be Thousand Year Door. But Yeah,
Right.
Super Mario RPG still looks cool. Still looks like a lot of fun.
It's my favorite Mario RPG, but Thousand Year Door would be really close behind it. But yeah, I don't know. There's something charming about the original NES version that I don't know. I just feel like it's not that same charm isn't there in this remake, and I don't know why. For me, I can't explain it, but yeah, that looks cool.
The corporate gloss has
honestly,
been
yeah,
painted over,
yeah,
liberally.
So this next game, oh God, I can't even remember what it's called. You guys might have to help me out. But I
Aren't
remember.
you haven't written it down? Didn't you write your look? I see you looking down at a list. What do you mean you don't know what the name is?
Because I wrote down like
oh my God.
the girl from Smash that I see her trophy all the time.
And
her name is Trace, but the game is called Another
Memory,
another voice
origin,
or something.
Another.
I did the same thing on the Zelda cast. So I did not know the name of this game, and you think I would have got it together.
Switch another.
Anyways, I think this looks fine. It's a remake. Another code. Thank you.
There we go. Another code.
Looks neat, but not something I'm busting my wallet out to go and pick up. But looks cool.
This game is definitely not for me at all. I'll tell you that right off the bat.
What? No.
I feel like it's kind of like a cool like mystery visual novel game, right? Like
yeah. This is a game that it's a classic like game you read about in Nintendo Power but never play unless you like got it from like GameStop for $10 or was like on GameFly or something. Like this I want to even say like the original, not the original, but one of them on the DS. I remember reading about a Nintendo Power and you'd read about it, like, oh, that's interesting. It was like what was it, the Trauma Center games?
Yeah.
Another game series that like I never like played, but I would always read about them in Nintendo Power. And then eventually I did get one of the games from GameFly. I was like, oh, this is dope. So I wonder if this is a game like that where like it's actually low key fire, but we have so many
I bet you it's
preconceived notions about it because of what it looks like. It's probably a fire game.
I just like. Again, like if this was releasing for like $20 on the eShop, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna put that on my wish list, and like if it goes on sale, I'm gonna pick it up. But I don't think it's going that way. But you're right. Like I was like, I know this face. I've seen this face for like the last however many years in Smash. So that was something. Okay, so there are 3 laws in the universe. There's gonna be death. There's gonna be taxes. And when Nintendo needs a game to fill out a quiet period, there's going to be Kirby. And I would have bet anything that we're seeing Kirby at this Nintendo Direct. But actually, this pink bastard didn't show up. But in his place was a pretty much a Kirby game, but looks much better. And that is Princess Peach Showtime, which actually looks like...
How does that look like a Kirby game to you at all?
Because she changes into like Kung Fu Peach, Detective Peach, Boxer Peach, gotcha. like it looks Kirby enough. Yeah, nice. This game looks charming. It looks cute. I'm not gonna get it. I don't think, but
I still don't get what the gameplay is. Like, what am I doing?
I'm not sure.
Is it a turn-based RPG? Is it like an action?
I think it's like a Kirby game where there's like little enemies or whatever, and you just kind of go over and hit him or something. Like I think that's what it is. So
it's like an action game, like action adventure game. I couldn't tell. I still can't tell from what I'm looking at. I'm like, is it a game where I'm freely moving around all the time? And I don't know. I kind of like the vibes though. I like the theater aesthetic and theme of it. It's cool, and that makes sense with all her costumes. She's changing into all her different roles. It's cool.
This could very well be the last big original Switch game too. That's not a port. We'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot of people online that are like, oh my god, this game looks amazing. This game looks incredible. It looks fine. Yeah. It looks fine. I like the art direction. No, I think the costumes. I think the costumes are really cute, but like, I'm probably not going to get it unless it like reviews exceptionally well, like higher than I'm anticipating. Then I'll probably check it out. But otherwise, not really on my radar.
I like that they're digging into like, okay, they're really giving more time to Luigi. And now Peach has her. I mean, I know Peach had Super Princess Peach way back in the day, but like, it kind of feels like now Peach is spreading her wings a little bit outside from Mario's very short shadow.
Yes, you could tell, man, that this Mario movie made a lot of money this last year.
Oh yeah, they're like, oh, this Mario thing is a moneymaker. We should make more of that. They like this guy.
Mario's kind of popular. Who knew?
All right, so we got some RPG called Saga Emerald Beyond. Assuming nobody has any big thoughts on that.
Saga Emerald Beyond. Oh my god, that just made me think of something else we haven't gotten into yet. But continue. Saga Emerald Beyond.
Okay, so originally,
I know. Okay, I know what this is. But yeah, I don't have any thoughts. It looks cool though.
yeah, it looked fine. Originally, I thought that maybe there was another game that popped you Doom, but in fact, I know it's actually this, and that is, of course, the remastered Tomb Raider trilogy. Which I gotta say, I really like the new art style because it looks new but retro. I think it looks really good.
It's perfect. It's better than I could have ever imagined. I'm so excited. I have wanted these games to be ported to consoles for so long, because like they've been exclusive on consoles to the PS1 generation, and otherwise you can only get them on Steam. But so for the first time since the PS1 generation, they're finally played on consoles, and they're remastered. And it's like Master Chief Collection, where you can switch between the old school and the new visuals. And the new visuals, like you mentioned, are perfect because like they look modern, but they still have a lot of those aesthetics and those traits that makes the original art direction so charming, and like they kept it intact. Oh my! This is a day one buy for me. I'm so excited. I can't wait to play through these games again.
Yeah, this look cool. You know, I've played the new Tomb Raider games, and they're good. But yeah, they're a little bit too sullen, a little bit too serious for me.
Yeah.
And when I saw this, I was like, this looks very charming. This looks like Tomb Raider. Like I love like the Tomb Raider movies. Like I think those are great video game movies.
Yeah.
And those have like the same kind of vibe as like the early games too, which I love. So yeah, this looks great.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Metroidvania gameplay of like, you know, the recent reboot trilogy, but like definitely I don't like the tone of that at all. I think it takes itself way too seriously, especially because the stories are still like really goofy and over the top, but like yeah, it's missing a lot of that charm from like those original titles. So I'm hoping in that with these remasters it's a sign of things to come.
I have two thoughts. One, that's cool. I also kind of I like the new Tomb Raider. I think the new Tomb Raider is badass. I've always thought the older Tomb Raider was like too goofy and like cheesy for me, which like that charm appeals. I think the new, I mean, like it's a little egregious at times. I will admit it gets a little bit much with like how like I'm watching Tomb Raider lady like fall down a mountain and then get like gored in the stomach by like a log. I'm like, all right, that's a bit much. But like I kind of like the rough and tumble, like it's the really grittiness of it. That said, I think I don't know, is there a term for this? But I think it's so fascinating, the Angelina-ization of the Tomb Raider of Lara Croft. Like, because I know like Angelina Jolie was cast as Lara Croft because she looks like Lara Croft, but now Lara Croft looks like Angelina Jolie. And is there like a term for that, like where the character becomes so like tied to like a real person who portrays them that their appearance then becomes that person's appearance always? Because I feel like that's how, like with the remake on those graphics, the old graphics look like the old graphics, but the new graphics look like they made her face look intentionally more like Angelina Jolie than she did at the time before. I'm pretty sure she even played her, unless I'm mistaken. Is there a term for that?
I don't know if there's a term, but you know what you're making me think of is
it's fascinating.
Do you remember when they put that god awful mod in the Spider-Man game to make him look like Tom Holland? That made me want to throw up. Oh god, that was so.
No. Oh, that wasn't a mod. That was in the remaster.
All right, yeah. I'm sorry. They made it official. Like they took the perfectly fine Spider-Man and made him into that freak Tom Holland. But I will say,
I like both faces. I don't mind him.
There was Lara Croft may have. Let me back up. Angelina Jolie may have looked like Lara Croft, but man, she was Lara Croft. And like attitude wise, like she was so awesome in those movies.
I just think it's fascinating how it kind of like flips back on it. I want to think of other characters that are like that. I'm sure there are. Like
there's got to be.
Yeah,
it kind of reminded me
that went to movies or whatever.
Well, so here's when I saw the new remastered graphics, the first game that came to my mind was I think Angel of Darkness. That was the 6th Tomb Raider game on the PS2, which did release along the same time as the Lara Croft or the Angelina Jolie film. So
that's
maybe
you couldn't waterboard out of me, but go ahead.
Well, I like classic Tomb Raider. Like, what's
go ahead, man? That's if you like it, you like it. I'm not judging.
I've only ever played the new ones, and I like them a lot. I think that they're all good, but
I feel like I've only played like the first one and then the most recent ones. Like I didn't 6th Tomb of Darkness, did not play that.
They were just like, I remember seeing reviews for them like back in the day. Angel of Darkness, I remember, was supposed to just be terrible. Like I feel like I've never seen like a Tomb Raider game come out that was supposed to be like really good because I really got into gaming.
I remember this. Yeah.
I remember it coming out. Like I got into gaming like after the first couple Tomb Raiders. I think were already out. Or like seriously into gaming.
So many Tomb Raider games.
And I know it's.
I
was about to say an obscenity. I was about to say they're almost like Kirby, where each game is kind of like
so
not that
many.
great. But...
They were pumping them out for 96 to 2003. They were pumping those bad boys
it was
out.
They were like COD style releases. Like you were getting them every year.
1996. I'm sorry, I know this is like not even important, but 1996 to 2008, there was a new Tomb Raider game every year except 2004 and 2005. That's crazy. And I'm sure some of these are not super new, but that's crazy to me.
I just want to say, if anyone listening to this podcast has not seen, and both of the Tomb Raider movies are awesome, actually. If you've never seen them or you haven't seen them in a while, do yourself a favor and watch them or rewatch them because they whip butt. They are so good.
Underworld, I remember that one. Wow, I remember more of these than I thought I would. Just like core memories being unlocked.
All right, well, let's talk about another unforgettable game that nobody could forget, and that, of course, is Detective Pikachu Returns.
How much meat is on this bone? How much can they do with this concept of Pikachu talking and solving crimes?
I actually think that they could do a lot with it. Like, you look at Ace Attorney, like that's still going strong, but I own the first Detective Pikachu game, and it's a fine game, but it's very simple. I think that they need to, I don't know, make it just a little bit more intricate, and I do not get those vibes from this game. And also, I think that Detective Pikachu is like a really quality like DS or 3DS game. It's not something I would look at on like, you know, the quote unquote big console and be like, yeah, I'm gonna buy that. So, yeah. Also, it seems like, where was this game when the movie came out? Like, I don't know. I feel like it could have taken that long to develop. It's not like it looks like so impressive that it's just like, oh yeah, they needed that extra time to add this polish to it.
Those two teams are not in connection with each other.
I mean, I get it, but
clearly.
Like, yeah, it's like, maybe let's do a little bit of tie-in here or something. I don't know. I digress.
It exists. That's all I have to add.
It does exist. You know, Detective Pikachu's a lot like me in a lot of ways. He drinks a lot of coffee. He's grumpy. Kind of, you know, almost like my spirit animal a little bit. Okay, this next one, I thought...
there's more?
I thought that I was tripping on acid when I saw this in the best way, and that was Trombone Champ. Man, I understand that this is not a new game, but I saw this, and I was like, what galaxy am I in? What am I watching right now? This kind of looks awesome in its own way.
Yeah, I mean,
it's on Switch. It definitely belongs on this system. I love how they're using the oft forgotten backwards facing IR camera on the Joy-Con, so you can actually do like the trombone movements. Like, absolutely wild, but I kind of love it.
Yeah. That's not how my acid trips have gone, but, you know.
I imagine that's how it would have to go. I'm not
digress.
Sure. This would be a good game to play with a few Molson Canadians and the Omega Metroid crew.
That's a game you break out at 3 a.m. Everyone's already super, super messed up, and you're like, all right, it's time to subject these poor people to Trombone Hero and see which one of them hates me first.
All right, so I'm going to blitz through a few games here. We got our usual montage of games, which included Contra, which I thought was cool.
Yep.
Unicorn Overlord.
Oh,
yes. Which actually looks pretty cool, but it continues the ridiculous RPG naming trend that was created by Octopath Traveler and continued by Triangle Strategy. And now we can add Unicorn Overlord to that name, or to that list. So
Unicorn, cool. That has to be one of the worst game titles I've ever heard.
I think Octopath Traveler was worse. When I first heard that,
I don't think it's good. Octopath Traveler is definitely bad, but this is also bad.
Well, let me tell you about a title that I don't like, and that is Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Why they got to do that to that game? Why can't they just call it Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon?
Because they don't want to remind people.
I know why they do
remind people that it already came out.
I guess.
So first off, in Europe it actually is called Luigi's Mansion 2. It's just in North America where they gave it the subtitle.
That doesn't matter.
I'm personally happy just because it's consistent with 3, which is called that across all territories, and I like consistency, so it makes sense.
Well, I like subtitles rather than numbers, as we all know, and I wish they would have stuck with it. But whatever, that's okay. This is a great game. I'm not gonna buy it because I already own it on 3DS. But if you skipped
I'm not
it,
gonna buy it.
Well, I mean, like if you don't already own it on 3DS,
I know.
go get it because it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I have not played Luigi's Mansion 2, so I will be buying it.
I probably.
What? It's awesome.
I might get it. I like me some Luigi's Mansion. So
I played 1 and 3, haven't played 2 yet. So
guys, it's so good. You're gonna love it. Yeah, if I didn't already own it, I'd buy it in a heartbeat.
If you like Luigi's Mansion, boy, do I have a game for you.
Hey,
Luigi's Mansion 2
HD. Okay,
HD.
The Nintendo Museum in Kyoto. That's pretty cool. We got a bunch of
hell yeah.
We got a bunch of amiibo. Dax already pre-ordered his Sora amiibo right now.
I did. I pre-ordered it so I can melt it.
And then the new F-Zero game everybody was asking for, the Battle Royale F-Zero 99. I mean, listen, nobody wanted a Battle Royale game, but it was kind of cool that there was F-Zero anything. And I think that everybody should download it, even if you have no intention of playing it, just so that Nintendo can see that it got a lot of downloads. So, hey.
This is
anybody
low
played
key.
This yet?
I have, and I want to say this is low-key one of the best games I played all year. This game is so good, and if you're not playing it, you're doing yourself a disservice. I too, I get why there's a lot of disappointment. I'm going to be real with you. I think most of the people that are disappointed have never played an F-Zero game in their lives, though. Let's be real. Most of the people that are, freaking out online have never touched an F-Zero game. I digress, though. Regardless whether or not...
I don't think that's
regardless whether or not you've played an F-Zero game, I think what they've done here is terrific, because I think one of the biggest problems with F-Zero is it has an incredibly steep learning curve. It's very hard, especially the 3D F-Zero games. The F-Zero GX is notoriously one of the most difficult single player racing campaigns, probably of all time. It's absolutely ludicrous, the skill gap that you need to traverse to get over there. F-Zero 99 still has an incredibly deep learning curve, but they found a way to be able to ease newcomers in, but in a way that it doesn't introduce some of the more random elements in a Mario Kart game, which I also like, but that doesn't really make sense for an F-Zero game. And I think they've done it in such a way, and they've given a reward system that makes coming back to this game so addicting. And so, again, I know a lot of people are disappointed. You wanted at least a GX remaster, maybe a new game, and this is, on the surface it looks like, SNES but with 99 players. Give this game a shot, though, because I'm telling you, once you really experience this game, it is so much fun. You're not going to be sinking hours of your day or your week into this, but it's definitely a good title to come back to, I think.
Yeah, I have not played it, but I will try it out this week. I do plan on doing that. I think it's a hard thing, because I hope that it does well for F-Zero fans, and I feel like it's almost kind of disingenuous for Nintendo to put this out there, and if they don't get the results they're expecting, then they'll be like, oh, people don't want F-Zero, because it's if you weren't watching the Direct, you might not even know about it. It's it's not even a real new game, and it's an online only thing, that kind of stuff. That said, I think it's a really smart way to bring back F-Zero. I feel to me, what I love about racing games is racing other people a lot of the time, and F-Zero doesn't really have that component. You're always racing against the computer. So I think this is the first, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first F-Zero game that has any kind of multiplayer at all online, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
I think the GameCube ones had split screen.
No,
local.
I think they had
Technically,
local, but not online.
So
Not
technically,
online, I'm saying local.
Yeah.
So technically, F-Zero X on the NSO app, you can play with your friends online, but I'm not going to count that because
but
that's
not the
still with
original
friends.
releases. Yeah, so this is the first new release, kind of, though that's also being generous with multiplayer. I feel like the F-Zero concept makes so much sense for multiplayer, and then I think it looks like a lot of chaotic fun. It looks like they could have easily just put out a remake and be like, yeah, you can race with 8 of your friends. I think this is it's chaos, it's nonsense, it's straight up gaming. Really cool. I'm gonna have to try it out. I'm a sucker for battle royales. It's not really a battle royale, but it's just a lot of chaos and a lot.
Yeah. I think you're both right.
There isn't a knockout. There is some knockout, but not. It's not it doesn't go to one. It's
Yeah.
there's only a few laps.
There
It looks
might
cool.
there might be so there was a data mine, and it seems that they are going to add something called a survival mode, which we don't know what that means.
I thought it was going to be.
That's what I thought
assumed
too.
it was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be
Because you take a lot of
knockout
damage
mode.
in F-Zero. I was like,
Well,
okay,
I thought it was
cool.
going to be like, okay, the last 5 people on this lap are eliminated. The next 5 are eliminated. The
Yeah,
next
that
5 are
would've been
eliminated
cool,
until it
too.
gets down to 1 rate. That's what I thought it was going to be, which I feel like, okay, that'd probably take forever. But like, I feel like you got to add that because like I like how it is now. It's crazy. Like, okay, you end up with a few knockouts, but more or less you have the same amount of people the entire race. It'd be really cool if like you had like a 20 or 30 lap race and to see who could last the longest. Like that is what I thought it was going to be. I hope they add that. I still like what they added, but I think that's like a natural progression. They got to put that in there.
I will say, I agree with everything that you just said, Dak. I mostly agree with what you said, Doom, but I do think it's I think it's disingenuous to say that people didn't like this because they haven't played F-Zero. I think they probably didn't like it because they have played F-Zero. Because as Dak, correctly says, like F-Zero isn't really like a like a party game. Like it's like the Soul Calibur of racing franchises, right? Like it's about technique and it's about a lot of stuff which doesn't necessarily, on the surface at least anyways, translate to F-Zero 99. I'm not saying it does or doesn't in the actual practice of the game, but I can see why some people might have been upset. But I mean, for me, I'm just like, if there's F-Zero anything, that's a W. Like that's a good thing. So I'm happy.
People were like well, because like people were comparing this to like Federation Force, and it's like this is absolutely nowhere near. This is nowhere near. No, if anything, like I can understand wanting something else, but at the same time, I think this is still like at least a relatively exciting announcement. I don't consider this
100%.
Whereas Federation Force, regardless of what your thoughts on the game now are, like when that game was announced, that was just like a smack in the face. It felt like.
I do think that Doom is right, though, that a lot of people who talk about F-Zero online have not or do not actually play F-Zero. I'm just saying, because for the amount of units and copies that F-Zero sold 20 years ago, there are just a few too many people online talking about it. Is all I'm gonna say. You could rake me over the coals for that one, but like,
well, I don't disagree with what you're saying, because that's different.
I agree.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to Prince of Persia for a moment, then we can get back on the direct talk. But I feel like something similar happened there, where when that game was, the I can't remember what it's called, but the game that's about to come out, when that was announced, people were like all salty, like, oh, why is it 2D? Where's our Sands of Time remake? I want to know how many people complaining have actually played not just Sands of Time, but any Prince of Persia game.
I will say
though
that more people probably played Sands of Time than they have an F-Zero game.
Oh, so I agree. Absolutely.
I would give them more of the benefit of the doubt. Like I feel like a lot of people have played Prince of Persia at least one part of their time, or I mean, especially when the Jake Gyllenhaal movie come out. I mean, come on, that inspired me to get a little Prince of Persia half-hour session in. Come on,
I will say, by the way, that Jake Gyllenhaal Prince of Persia movie, not as bad as everybody says. Not great, but it's not
not my favorite Gyllenhaal movie.
No, definitely
not.
It's
not
awful.
Certainly near the bottom, but it's certainly near the bottom.
I do think, to your point though, Dak, there probably is a bunch of people that, either through reputation or from Smash or whatever, have heard about F-Zero and want to play a new F-Zero game, and because the other ones are so difficult to come by, or at least they were before NSO, I think that might be something with it. I threw this out there on Discord. I think they should do like a Star Fox Assault style F-Zero game where like you can jump out of your car, you're Captive Falcon, you're Falcon punching people, you're hunting bounties, and it's like an action adventure with like a little bit of racing, maybe in between like here to there to a different city. That would be awesome. I think more people know Captive Falcon than F-Zero.
I pitched what I think is a pretty cool idea as well in our Discord, where it's basically like a hybrid between like a Grand Theft Auto game and like Burnout Paradise, which is an open world racing game. And I feel like you could combine those two elements together to create like a really cool like racing kind of action bounty hunting kind of game.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just super simple. Like during the day you do races. During the night you get out of your car and you punch people in the face around the city. Like how
wouldn't that be awesome?
It's so simple. It's
and, like,
so easy.
You could finally like have like a Falcon versus Goro like actual fight, which it always feels like it should be, but it never is because they're in like their cars and stuff. I think it'd be awesome. Anyways, I digress. Okay, let's zip through the rest here. I was pretty excited after this F-Zero announcement, and like it just grinded to a halt for me because we had like it felt like 30 minutes of League of Legends game announcements afterwards, and I was sitting in my chair. And listen, I'm sure they're fine games if you're into it, but they're just not for me. So I was like melting and just being like, oh god, League of okay. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on this. I hope you don't.
Yeah, I remember Riot like League of Legends IP1 game being announced or whatever. I might have looked away at this point.
There was definitely two. There's
I'm
more
not
than
gonna
one.
lie.
Yeah.
I looked away.
WarioWare came next, and I'm not a WarioWare guy. You know, I tried the first one on NSO again, but I don't like them like at all. They're too juvenile for me. They feel like a poor man's Mario Party. I'm not excited for the new one.
Nothing like Mario Party. What?
I don't know.
That is disrespectful to WarioWare. That is crazy. There's such a huge difference. Mario Party is like it's like Monopoly. It's like a long game. You simmer, you soak in it. And WarioWare is bam, bam, bam. Like just get right into the action. There, you know, it's such a complete. It's like you have like a second to like see what's on your screen and try to like figure out what's gonna happen. Mario Party, like you can take your time. You can really like the most. I feel like opposite of mini game style games I can think of. I'm also a huge fan of WarioWare Smooth Moves for the Wii back in the day.
Yes,
it's my favorite games, and so I can't say no to WarioWare. I think WarioWare is always a good amount of fun.
I know,
and Move It seems to be a spiritual successor.
I'm just
it is.
I can't tell a lie.
You need to have some fun, Andy.
I'm not a WarioWare guy. It's just like
there's more to life.
It's all fart jokes and like weird characters. It's like, man,
yes,
where is
that's
Wario. But like, I feel like I just want like Wario Land 4 with Captain Syrup and like it's cool hats and stuff.
I agree. I want Wario Land as well. Shake It, by the way, on the Wii is a really sick title. If anyone hasn't played
that.
What
I really want is Wario Land 5 or 6 or whatever, but with WarioWare characters. I do not care. I played Wario Land back in the day. Do not care about the characters from Wario Land games.
I mean, there really are like no characters.
There's like 2 characters, if that. But yeah, take the WarioWare characters and put them in the Wario Land game and have them have all different abilities and again, free ideas, Nintendo. Come on.
Put Waluigi in a Wario game already, Nintendo, you cowards.
Don't do that. Wario, I would think Waluigi would be better to have his own game, actually. The fact that Waluigi does not
I'm down for that too.
Waluigi does not have his own game, I think at this point, is just surprising to me.
Oh, wait till the sequel to Mario Bros. When Wario and Waluigi show up. Then he's getting his own game.
Nah, there's no
Waluigi Showtime. Maybe the third.
Danny DeVito voices Waluigi. Let's go.
Okay, so we got Dave the Diver. You're diving and catching things or whatever.
I thought that looked cool, actually. I thought it's like you dive into the water to get the food that you then serve to people in the restaurant. I thought it was a neat concept. Look, I thought I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. It was a nice little ingenuity there. I also am pretty sure it's already available.
Yes,
on stuff that's not the Switch. Yeah. So which is, I don't know why I'd even think that. Of course it is. Any good game is. So I was just like, well, I will take a look, and I was going to do that. I mean, I'm going to do that right now on Steam. Dave the Diver. I'll wait until it goes on sale, but it looks dope.
Okay, there you go. We got more Among Us. They had like this super long trailer for Among Us. I thought this game just seems like it's dead and buried to me. I'm sure it's not, but like.
Okay, well, Andy, you are not a 12-year-old child, so
yeah, that's true.
It is not for you. It's
true.
For the youth.
Yep. And then we got our last. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I was with the kind of the production quality of the trailer. I was expecting a more substantial announcement than just a new map. But anyways, I digress. Go on.
Hey, they're having fun with it. They're being creative.
The final Mario Kart booster pass. I think it's fair to say it limped its way out. Instead of like went out with a bang. I felt like kind of
Diddy Kong, Funky Kong.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Well, to be fair, I don't really think, because you're not really a Mario Kart guy, so I don't really think you're the target audience for like all this stuff. But like, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed.
I enjoy Mario Kart, but I'm not just like, oh my god, Toad Circuit from the Game Boy. Like that's not me. But I think this is my thing with Mario Kart. I feel like at this point, it's like Mario Kart needs to do like what Smash is doing. Like, hey, you can play as Samus now, and here's a Brinstar stage, or you can play as
what does it need to do?
I think that's it. Like I think it needs to kind of slowly transition towards Nintendo Kart, and then that's gonna hook me. But like Mario Kart, like it's like, oh yeah, you can play as Peachette, Who is Peachette? I have no
I
idea.
said the same thing. I was like, who is Peachette? Who is that? And then I was told that it's literally Toadette wearing a peach crown that makes her look like Peach, which I just feel like the connotations of that are...
It was the originator of the Bowsette memes from way back in the day.
That I figured out. But I was like, it's such a weird concept that your power-up would turn you into a human woman. It's so weird.
It's weird.
Like,
I'm
like...
Is there a Mario-ette?
So I'm kind of mixed on this. So on one hand, I mean, Daisy Circuit, it's a cool track. Not what I would have picked personally, especially for like the final wave, but it's there. It is what it is. The characters, I think, are really interesting because there's only 2 slots left currently on the character roster for what's going to be added. 2 question marks.
And so after Smash Bros now, who cares?
Yeah, we're going. It's Grinch League. It's Grinch League 2.
Like the thing about it is,
I was just gonna say, and I was kind of saying, like, the reason I feel very ho-hum about this is because, like, I feel like Mario Kart was kind of moving in that Nintendo Kart direction. Like, they had Isabelle, they had Link, they had Splatoon, like, they had playable characters from other franchises, and I was like, okay, this is awesome, this is what I want. And then it's just like, oh yeah, now you can play as Chain Chomp, and it's like,
whoa.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that actually would be kind of cool.
But here's the thing: is that like they put in the big franchises, bro. Zelda, Splatoon, Animal Crossing. What else is there? That's it.
But I mean, like,
those are the money makers. That's it.
But look at what Smash has done for some of those smaller. I mean, look at what it did for Fire Emblem. Like, maybe it can have some measure of. I mean, and I'm not saying that you need to make it like a same roster, like, you know, like Smash Bros. But like,
I think it's just because like when you put a new character in a kart racing game, it doesn't like you're essentially changing your avatar unless you're looking at different weight classes. It doesn't like look because like Mario Kart, it's like okay. It's like I don't get excited when, you know, Reebok or whoever puts out a new like stylish basketball or soccer ball, but I'm excited to play basketball or soccer anytime I have the chance. Mario Kart is like I love playing Mario Kart. You know, I don't know why I said Reebok. I don't know who makes basketballs, but like Reebok does not make basketballs. I don't know why I said that. That was awful. But anyway, like I'm not excited about but like when I play those games, like I always have a good time. Mario Kart's like I'm not excited about the new characters coming out, but I'm always going to be happy to have fun playing Mario Kart. So it's like it's one of those things where I might get it to get the DLC to have the full game, but I'm not like, oh, that's crazy.
The inference though is that like for example, if you get the Samus character, you also get like a Samus track. I guess is what I'm more so saying because like you got the Link track, you got the Animal Crossing track, you got the there's a Splatoon track, right?
No,
it's a battle mode stage, not a track.
Oh, well, like you get something though. Is my point. Like that's from another.
That would be
universe.
cool. Yeah, I guess you're right. That would get me more inclined to be like.
My thing with Mario Kart transitioning into a Smash Kart would be, I'm kind of indifferent whether or not it does that. I would hope that if it does, that's not like the big selling point of the game. Because if that is, that would disappoint me. Like I would want a bit more than just that personally. I would want like mechanically, what separates this that, you know, we couldn't do in 8 before. You know, is there like a single player mode, kind of like Diddy Kong Racing? Is there, you know, some sort of mechanic that goes
subspace for Mario Kart would be sick. I want that.
You know, is there?
It's funny.
Is there some sort of racing mechanic that goes like past even anti-gravity? I want something new that like fundamentally changes the races. Yeah.
It's funny you guys say that because I would be perfectly content if they were like, here's Nintendo Kart, and it was like literally Mario Kart, but with like a Metroid stage, with a Fire Emblem stage, with a Xenoblade, like whatever stage, right? Like I'd be like, great. Yeah.
Mario Kart needs to do Mario Kart 99. I want 99 karts on the track now. And the game runs at 5 FPS. That's what I want.
You know what's funny? Which
one frame per cart.
They got all these ridiculous Mario Kart characters and no Paper Mario in this game, which is strange. And of course, this is how the direct ends. Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door. I have some thoughts. I know that everybody's excited, and so am I. But I'm not gonna get it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna get it.
Boo, hiss.
But I'm not gonna get it because during COVID, I had some time off, and I was like, you know what I'm gonna do in my like months where like nothing was open. I was like, I'm gonna rebuild my GameCube collection. So I got 1,000 Year Door, and which, by the way, I'm glad that this remake is coming out now because now maybe the price on the GameCube game will come plummeting down. But I got 1,000 Year Door, played it, great game, amazing. and I just feel like I don't want to pay full price to play the same game again. And frankly, as amazing as this game is, like Paper Mario's art style is such that like it still looks incredible on the GameCube, and like I'm sure that they up-res bitted
it looks beautiful on the Switch though.
Yeah, they remade it. They remade all the visuals. They rebuilt it from the ground
the
up.
color pops. It
to
looks
me,
so
it
nice
didn't look
and
so
bright.
much better that I was just like, wow, this is like it did. When I saw it, I like when I saw Metroid Prime Remastered, I was like, holy cow. When I saw Paper Mario, I was just like, yeah, looks great. Yeah.
Yeah, because Paper Mario stylized, like you said,
Right.
it's not going to have as big of a jump. Yeah, I mean, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is one of my favorite games of all time. I would play it on the way to hockey tournaments in the van, in the minivan. Like I've played it so many times. I will agree. Like the visuals look really, really, really nice, but it wasn't like whoa. Like it's not like Mario looked like real, you know. But it looked very nice, and I was like, wow. I was very impressed how well it looked. But it's more so like, oh, I'll get to play Mario on the go now. Was kind of like my thing, and I haven't gotten a Steam Deck yet, and I could just emulate it or whatever. If it didn't look as substantially nicer and didn't have that portability factor, yeah, I would agree, because I still think the best way to play it is on emulator, because you can fast forward during the walking sections and early parts of the game that I've played already dozens of times. So I love playing it on emulator because it's great, because I can just fast forward. But I will take losing that to have it look beautiful. And I mean, I even love how in the they update a little things, like in the glitz pit, the little intercom thing that you talk to the dude and whoever in that, and Rockhawk and all of them, and like the manager and the assistant through that intercom. It used to kind of look like a Game Boy Advance. Now it's an actual Game Boy Advance. Like little things like that are really cool and fun. I think it looks awesome. I'm really excited for it. Thousand Year Door. I'm really excited for people to play the game for the first time, because that's a real Paper Mario RPG experience. I love it. It's a fantastic game. It's so well written. It's a lot of fun. It's quirky. I love seeing Mario in like a completely different, removed world with new characters and except Bowser and Peach. Like, yeah, great game. I was really happy about that, and that made the direct for me. That was it. Yeah.
I'm very happy that this game is coming out for Paper Mario fans. I know Paper Mario fans have been begging for this for a long time. Y'all finally got your wish. Mm-hmm. I don't know, like we said, I'm not really an RPG guy, and I don't know why Super Mario RPG was the one that grabbed me. I don't know why Super Mario RPG is the one that grabbed me and not necessarily this one. I might give it a shot, but I don't know. We'll
Mario
see.
If you
never played it, I very much recommend playing it. Personally, like I bought it for like $100 for the GameCube, so I'm not gonna like rebuy it. But if I hadn't, I'd be all over this, because Thousand Year Door is such a quality, not even RPG. It's like one of my favorite Nintendo games of the GameCube era.
Yeah,
like,
it's so one of my favorite Nintendo games. Period. It's like it's a full package game. The gameplay's a lot of fun. It has I think it has replayability because it's just such a fun game to play. Personally, for me, it's because I love getting in the story and characters. It's such a well-written game, and everyone's so fun. Like, it's funny and it's emotional, and
it's got classic storytelling tropes. Like, remember, that level where you're on the train and you gotta it's the little murder mystery. That's so good. Yeah, it's so good.
I love the glitz pit is one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
I mean
it's an exceptional game.
It's a really, really good game. I highly, highly, highly recommend it.
Yeah. I'm sure it is, but on the surface, as someone who's never played a Paper Mario game, I'm watching it and it's like, yeah, that looks like a Paper Mario game. Which, and again, I know that it's a lot more than that. I know if I actually played all these games and analyzed them, they're vastly different. But just on the surface, as someone who's never played any of these, it looks like another Paper Mario game.
Go play Paper Mario on NSO. I actually played it a couple months ago, and the first Paper Mario is awesome. And this is like a souped up version of Paper Mario. Better story, better probably just a better. Yeah, it's really.
I think it's one of those things where you can definitely say either one is better.
Yeah,
like they're both very, very, very good games. I just think Thousand Year Door just a little.
I agree.
It's a little better. Just goes over the edge. It's great.
Okay, that was a direct. It's fine.
Can't believe we talked about it that long.
Yeah,
it was the direct of all time.
It was certainly a direct. So there we go. Okay, so what we're going to do next week is we're doing some fan Q&A. So we want you, the listener to give us some questions. We'll have a post over on Twitter. Of course, you can ask us in our Discord. We have a dedicated channel for that. We've already got a few good ones coming in, so we want to encourage everybody to feed us those questions. We're going to be talking about Metroid Prime 4 in the coming weeks, about what that game needs to do to succeed, and we're going to be doing a new sub-series diving into some of the lore of Metroid, which we kind of done here and there, but we're gonna do a deep
We're gonna do
dive.
it more.
Yeah,
more
lore. So there we
more
go.
lore. That's what the name of the series should be. Can we call it that?
Yeah, but it's all one word. More lore.
More.
What about
Metroid more lore?
There we go.
Okay. More.
Well, that is going to do it for us. We hope that you guys enjoyed the direct and found something that you were looking forward to. Give us those questions. Let us know over on Discord. Let us know over on Twitter. Of course, you can do that at Omega Metroid Pod. You can check us out while you're there as well. I'm at Spiteri316. Dak is at DakCity_. Doom is at Doominal Crossing. Check out OmegaMetroid.com and, give us, hit us up. We have a lot of new walkthroughs over there, including Zero Mission, including Echoes, and I'm about halfway down Corruption right now, so that'll be coming soon. Lots of cool stuff going on over there. We're on Patreon. We got our theme song available at Bandcamp. We got so much stuff going on. You can find where everything is over at OmegaMetroid.com. And check us out wherever you get your podcast. Like, subscribe, recommend us to that Metroid fan in your life. And that, my friends, is going to do it for us. But drop us a question for next week, and we'll answer it then. Take care, everybody.